You don't need me telling you this, but someone's pro wrestling gimmick is pretty damned important. I mean, who would you rather be? Stone Cold Steve Austin or Mantar? If you say Mantar, you're lying. That's not cool, man. The reason for this is because if an audience thinks you're a joke, that's it. You're a joke. Even if you're the best worker in the world, if you're walking out there wearing a diaper and crying like a baby, you'll probably never be a world champion. So, small life lesson. If you get to the WWE or somewhere similar, make sure you have some good ideas in mind, just in case. I'm Simon from WhatCulture.com, and this is 10 wrestlers lumbered with dead-on-arrival gimmicks. Number 10, the Shining Stars. A prime example of good wrestlers who can't get anywhere because of a gimmick. Primo and Epico Cologne have been saddled with a lot of ridiculousness over the years, but surely none are more stupid than the Shining Stars. The main reason for this is because it's just so empty. They're two dudes that love Puerto Rico, and that's it. Whether or not they make some money off that, I don't know. Maybe they sell timeshares or something. But it never went anywhere other than going on about a country they like and possibly could be from. Worse than this, they were never treated seriously and were in dumb segment after dumb segment. And then, as we already established, they started to look dumb. Rumour is that they may even be on their way out of the WWE at the moment, if not already gone by the time you hear this. And that kind of sums it all up. Number 9, Jinder Mahal. No one remembers this because of the fact Jinder became WWE champion. But before that all kicked off, Mahal really was trying to get a dumb gimmick over. Announcing backstage that he had come to the WWE in peace, he wanted to let everyone know that he had trekked to the Himalayas, spent time in monasteries because he wanted to find inner comfort. The problem, of course, is that he's a wrestler and wrestlers are meant to kick the crap out of each other. Can't do that if you're not about being aggressive. With that in mind, it was kinda good he got plucked from obscurity and fell into the classic foreign heel role. It's better than this. Number 8, Paul Burchill. Before the British boom, some deserving wrestlers weren't even given a second look. And if they were, seeming doom awaited them. Paul Burchill was such a man. An incredibly talented dude. He managed to buck the trend and make it to the WWE. And what happened when he got there? He became a pirate. Now this was oddly entertaining, especially when Burchill would look into the camera during his entrance and wink. But the concept was stupid. He was basically Jack Sparrow simply because Pirates of the Caribbean was big at the time and it gave Paul no depth whatsoever. It was a simple gimmick which would clearly run out of steam quickly, and it did. Soon he was popping up on B shows before eventually he got let go. Number 7, Natalya. While today she's revered as one of the best workers in the company, for a while WWE ran out of ideas for Natalya, so just decided she would fart all the time. And yes, you heard me, the big plan would be that a member of the Hart family would just crack off wind every now and then. It didn't end there either, because she once lost in a tag team match after eating something that disagreed with her, farting, and the smell being so bad, it distracted the referee. At one point her ass was also seemingly responsible for Hornswoggle dying, and I'm not making any of that up. It was kiddie humour at best, but even then it wasn't funny, and it went on forever. Jeez. Number 6, Renegade. In 1995, WCW decided they would like to have the Ultimate Warrior in the company, but they didn't want to pay for him, so they just made their own version instead. Known as the Renegade, he would run to the ring, pump his fist, shake his hair, and had entrance music that sounded very familiar. He even squashed opponents in matches in seconds. Now, none of this worked because it was so obvious what was going on, but also because he looked like a budget version of everyone's early 90s hero. He wasn't as amped, wasn't as big, and wasn't as crazy. It was like you were at some rubbish indie promotion and this guy was just hoping one idiot would confuse him for the real deal. No one ever did. Number 5, the Gobbledygooker. Mid-90s WWE was so crazy it's hard to believe nowadays. We all have nostalgia for these acts, with the Bushwhackers, Men on a Mission and Bastion Booger, and not exactly top-end wrestling superstars. They were jokes, and bad ones at that. Nothing was as bad as the flipping Gobbledygooker though, and not just because the whole gimmick was a giant turkey that flapped around its wings like it was about to die. For weeks, WWE had built up that whatever was in this giant egg was going to be a game changer. And then we got this! Appearing at Survivor Series 1990, everybody ragged on it straight away and it was over before it even begun, because of course it was. What on earth did anyone ever think was going to happen with this? Ridiculous. Number 4, the Funkasaurus. As the rumours go, Brodus Clay was actually the brains behind the Hall of Pain gimmick, which eventually went to Mark Henry. The long-term arc would have seen him go through everyone, starting at the bottom of the pack before he had enough momentum to move up into the big leagues with the big boys. It was clearly a solid concept, as WWE did use it, just didn't use it with Brodus Clay. Instead, we got a giant dinosaur that shook his bottom. No one really knows why. Aside from the fact WWE teased his debut for so long it became ludicrous, it got worse when he actually did show up. What was this? What were we meant to think? It saw Brodus, who was a mountain of a man, run out of steam way too fast and eventually leave the company altogether. So that worked really well. Number 3, that 70s guy Mike Awesome. The story with Mike Awesome is so weird, I think it's better you just Google the man for yourself. The short version is this though. Mike Awesome was already a major player in ECW, so much so, WCW wanted him badly. They wanted him so badly, they paid a huge fee to get him out of his contract so he could appear on Nitro sooner rather than later. This was the man they thought could help them get to the next level, and Awesome was talented enough to have done that. But then he got WCW'd. Because Vince Russo had seen that 70s show on the television, he thought the best way to get Mike over was to have him be that 70s guy and act like he was from the 1970s. And just think about that for a moment. All that money, all that time, all that stress, put him in some flares. Even today it makes no sense and is frankly terrible, and whoever was responsible, Vince Russo, deserves to be thrown out of the window. Number 2, Oz. You're a wrestling booker. You've got a 7-foot monster who's pretty athletic for his size. What do you do with him? If your answer was turn him into a character from The Wizard of Oz, well done! You'd have fit right in with early 90s WCW, and that's not good. Appearing during the beyond awful Jim Herd era, Kevin Nash's turn as Oz is the stuff of bad legend. He looked like a fool, it was clear he'd been dressed up in cheap clothing, the idea just made no sense. What was this meant to be? Nobody knew. Why it tied into the movie of the same name is anyone's guess. It was just strange all round and thankfully ran its course never to be seen again. Wrestling. Number 1, fake Razor Ramon and fake Diesel. Much like Oz, the idea to just recast some characters is always bad. It's alright if said character is masked, then no one really cares, much like Sin Cara. I think he's changed about 78 times now, but we just accept it. When you can see someone's face, however, well, it's just not going to work. And yet during the controversy between Scott Hall and Kevin Nash going to WCW and leaving their Razor Ramon and Diesel characters behind, Vince McMahon thought a guaranteed ratings draw would be to bring the gimmicks back with new people in the roles. Ramon was Rick Bogner, just because he did a good impression of the bad guy, and Glenn I'm Gonna Be Kane Soon Jacobs was Diesel, because he was told he was going to be Diesel. It didn't work, fans were embarrassed this was even happening, and before long it had faded away. Not before ending Bogner's career though. He never recovered.
Hello, I am Adam Pacitti and I am fun. To prove how fun I am, I'm going to ask you a wrestling-based trivia question. Are you ready? Good. Who was Jerry Sagg's tag team partner in The Nasty Boys? The answer is Brian Knobbs. That was fun. For more fun, buy the What Culture Wrestling trivia game, available now at shop.whatculture.com.